Good morning. This is your 10 a.m. daily weather briefing, seeing mostly sunny and breezy, as well as cold conditions out there this morning, continuing with our current temperature sitting in the mid 20s and those wind chill values still at around 10 to 12 degrees. And although the sunshine will help try to melt off some of the snow cover and ice, we'll struggle to get above freezing as we move through the remainder of the day today. And overall, as we move through the next couple days, we'll stay pretty cold and breezy with very chilly conditions below average for this time of year. If we take a look at the current surface analysis, we see a tight pressure gradient across the region this morning that's helping to keep those winds elevated. We are currently in a wind advisory and will likely remain in a wind advisory through the working hours today. Otherwise, we'll see this tight pressure gradient over the region as we move through the coming days. Eventually, this high pressure will pass through the area before another potential disturbance moves through as we get into the weekend. If we look at the upper level winds from this morning's sounding, had some northwesterly winds in the lower half of the atmosphere, becoming a bit more west northwesterly as we get in the upper levels. Our peak wind today is 78 knots at 25,000 feet, and the freezing level this morning was at the surface. If we look at our current visible satellite, we can see the snow cover from the system that moved out of the area, moved through and out of the area, and bringing upwards above 7 to 8 inches and above up in the Delaware region, and then a bit less in the way down in the Wallops local area, but nonetheless plenty of snow cover across the area, and those clouds have cleared out of here with that sun shining through. If we take a look at the European model here for the short term as well as the longer term forecast, we'll see no precipitation expected as we move through the next couple days or through the remainder of the week. We'll see mainly partly cloudy skies to mostly sunny conditions through the remainder of the week, but we'll see that pressure gradient stays tight over the local region. That's going to keep those breezy conditions continuing, as well as those low thickness values with that trough over the area will keep below average temperatures with quite cold conditions, and those wind chill values staying quite low as well as we move through the remainder of the week. Getting into the weekend, we'll see another area of low pressure developing along the Gulf Coast here and tracking up into our region as we move into Saturday. Right now, it looks like we could see another round of some snow showers pushing through the area during the day on Saturday, possibly some rain mixing in as well. A bit too far out to really narrow down the exactly how the system would play out, but it does look like we could see maybe a few inches of snow with this system, but again, a bit too far out to narrow down any kind of accumulation with this as well. Could see a change in the track that will change the outcome quite significantly as we move through Saturday. So keep an eye on that, with a good chance we'll see some sort of precipitation through the day on Saturday. And then once again behind that, we'll see some chilly and slightly breezy conditions, but looks like high pressure builds in as we get into the start of next week, and that's going to help relax those winds getting into the start of the next work week. So if we look at our 24-hour weather risk chart for today, expecting red conditions for those winds at or above 25 knots through the working hours today. Again, we are currently in a wind advisory and do expect to stay in that wind advisory as we move through the day. We'll see those winds peaking out of the northwest, 12 to 17 knots, gusting up to 30 knots as we move through the afternoon. High temperature only getting up to around 33 degrees this afternoon, so right around freezing through the day today. And of course, those winds are going to keep those wind chill values down in the teens for much, if not all, of the day today. Overall, not expecting much in the way of clouds, and that continues as we go into the evening time. We'll see the winds slack off a bit with those peak winds back down to around 20 knots, so we're back to green conditions for those elevated winds, but we do keep a yellow risk and then back to an orange risk for those wind chill values, likely getting down into the low teens and upper single digits there, and our actual low temperature will be 21 degrees for Wednesday morning. Tides running normal, and for Wednesday through Thursday, pretty much similar conditions. We'll see partly cloudy to mostly sunny conditions with breezy and cold conditions. Not quite as breezy tomorrow as what we'll see today, but still looks like we could have a good chance of seeing a wind advisory through part of the day for Wednesday. So looking at an orange risk for that winds at or above 25 knots. Otherwise, a high once again around 33 degrees. Cold again Wednesday evening with breezy conditions likely picking up a bit more later in the evening before we get into Thursday. So do keep that orange risk for winds that are above 25 knots. Otherwise, we'll see our low around 19, and those wind chill values will once again be in the single digits. And similar story for Thursday. We'll see breezy and cold conditions, wind chill values in the upper single digits and lower teens. Colder day, not likely to get above freezing for our Thursday, looking at a high of 31 degrees and a bit breezier, so looking at the red risk for those winds at or above 25 knots. As we look into the extended forecast here, we'll see some additional clouds on Friday, still staying fairly cold with a high of 34 degrees. And those clouds will be on the increase ahead of that next system pushing through on Saturday. Right now, looking at about a 60% chance of seeing some precipitation in the area. Models indicating some snow, possibly mixing with some rain. We'll have to wait till we get a little closer to narrow down what kind of accumulation or if we expect any, but otherwise high of 37 degrees. And then moving into the remainder of the forecast here, looking at a high of 37 once again on Sunday, clouds clearing out, remaining slightly breezy for the first part of the day, and then looking at partly cloudy conditions for Monday with those temperatures finally possibly getting back up to or above 40 degrees. That's going to wrap up the 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. We'll be back again tomorrow at 8:15 and 10 a.m. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day.